of telling me I'm on the right track. You have a way of keeping me from falling back. This is Creatives, and I'm Ken Lehnig. The most often asked question I get from people that I work with is the question of writer's block, creative block. Something doesn't work and you can't get to the end of a project, or something just gets in the way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because right now it ain't working, right? You get stuck, you get frustrated, the words won't come, the opportunities aren't there. The good news is your subconscious is working on it, never stops working on it, but you block yourself up. You start to worry, you have angst, you're losing sleep. It's a terrible time, but I promise you that has nothing to do with creativity. Let's look at what's really happening. Let's say you had a room in your house and you wanted to paint the floor. You're not a painter, but you think you can do it. So you start painting, you learn skills as you go, and you find that you've painted yourself into a corner. Oh my, there's a dilemma. So what do? Well, you could walk across the painted floor and ruin it, which is what you feel about your project that seems to have been stumped or stopped, or there's no new ideas coming, or there doesn't seem to be anything working for you. It just doesn't work. Here's the problem. You think that's the only way out. But the truth is, if you turned around, you'd find another room with an unpainted floor. What am I trying to say? Well, if you're stuck on a project, it's like the painted room. You've done a good job up to that point with the skills and the knowledge that you have, but you've run out. There's something else needed that you don't have. Where do you look? In what you already know. You look at what you've already learned. You've looked at what you gained by being open in the beginning of the project. You've just closed yourself off. You're only operating on what you know. Very similar to a mouse going down a maze. On Monday, it went down the maze and it found a piece of cheese. And now every day since, it goes down the same way. The cheese is not there, so it backtracks. It tries it again. The cheese isn't there. It's what we do as human beings. The truth is you've done well. You've got that much accomplished. It's not going away. You can turn from it and do another project, try something different, do something else, and then let it sit, let it brew. Your subconscious is working on it all the time. Keep in mind, you are the nexus. The information will come to you, but you need more information. You need more skills. You haven't had them yet. You have trusted yourself along the way with the project you were doing, but now toward the end, you think you've got it handled. And the minute you think you've got it handled, guess what? It doesn't go any further than that. You've got to be open to it. So what do? Worry doesn't help. Being frustrated doesn't help, because that just gets in the way. You become part of the world and you've left the project. If that's the way you want to look at it, you've forgotten that you're the nexus of the energy that manifests your creativity. So many times in my life, I start on a project and I'd be ripping along, and then all of a sudden I start interjecting my stuff into it, and then the project would just sort of fizzle out, go away. So get out of your own way. In my long life, I've written hundreds of songs. I also have hundreds of songs in a box that I never finished. I've written 2 novels that'll be out this next year. But I also have 2 novels I've been working on for years. I can't ever find the proper ending. I come to an ending, I think of an ending, but I don't like what happens. So I just put it aside. It's always there. The thing is, creativity doesn't work on a time clock. And if your expectation is somehow that it be done by a certain time, well, there's a problem with just that idea. Creativity has its own time. It has its own way of making itself known in the world. Trust that. There are more songs and more novels in me, so I just trust the fact that I am a creative. I start another. The ideas come from the same font that started the other one. So I can trust that the process still continues in my subconscious. It's just something has to come, something has to change in me, some new information has to come to me, some new element in my world will spur on and break that so called block. So if you're a songwriter, start another song. If you're a painter, start another painting. If you're an actor, write another piece and perform it yourself. I had mentioned the idea of invitation, which we'll talk more about.